they were wiped clean. So I think that's pretty relevant evidence that's been lost.
We might see another disclosure request from defense as it relates to records that this officer may or may not have on her personal phone.
Robert Krychik reporting here in Ottawa, Ontario, on the 20th day of the trial of Tamara Lich and Chris Barber. The two are being charged with crimes linked to their roles as organizers with the 2022 Freedom Convoy, a peaceful demonstration against what I call the COVID-19 enterprise, this apparatus of control, coercion, mandates, censorship, lockdowns. You all know that story. The day's proceedings were entirely dedicated to dealing with the latest witness for the prosecution. It's an Ottawa Police Service officer. Her name is Nicole Bache. She worked in the police liaison team, PLT, and the PLT deals with protest organizers and other stakeholders when there are large events going on to ensure public safety and coordinate resources. Before we go any further, please check out tamaratrial.com. You can contribute to our operational costs there so that we can continue delivering this in the field reporting to you all out there in the audience. And you can also stay up to date with our ongoing reports. For those of you that have been following our reporting on this trial, you'll remember that there is an ongoing theme of police officers being unable to negotiate with the Freedom Convoy organizers because their discretion to do so was removed or stripped from them by higher-ups. And we don't know how high up the chain of command that order originated from. And there was a quote that we can attach to this, "Not 1 inch." That is the quote. That's what was directly ordered to Russell Lucas, an incident commander. He testified to that in the first week of this trial, and he is the top PLT guy. He said that he was unable to negotiate with the Freedom Convoy to consolidate their footprint, to reduce the impact of the vehicles demonstrating in Ottawa on the city's residents. And he said he didn't know from where that command originated. We've had now 2 more police officers corroborate that fact. One of them was today. So today, again, her name is Nicole Bache. She said in her testimony that at a certain point in February, she was no longer able to make any offers, any negotiations, any overtures to mobilize Freedom Convoy vehicles, the trucks, to again reduce the impact on the city of Ottawa, and that this led to a consequence of Chris Barber and other truckers becoming frustrated and agitated with their inability to do what the police wanted them to do, which is again to consolidate their presence and just reduce negative impacts on the city of Ottawa flowing from the demonstration itself. Nicole Bache also testified that her work phone was wiped. That's the word she used. She later elaborated on what she meant by that her mobile device, her phone, had some sort of software or system update or upgrade, and that in the process of doing that, all of her relevant work records were lost. Text messages, emails, whatever else might have been saved on her device. That same thing was told to us yesterday by a similar police officer. The lady's name is Isabel Sear. Isabel Sear testified yesterday to the same thing, that her mobile device was wiped. All the records were lost while her phone underwent this sort of upgrade or update via her tech department.
Come on out November 25th. It's all aboard the Freedom Train in Niagara-on-the-Lake. You can check Rebel News for updates and also the Freedom Passport site.
Tamara Lich, who led the Truckers Convoy, will be sharing the stage with some of the finest international recording artists, like the Chops Horns from New York City, who's played with Alicia Keys, Stevie Wonder, the Rolling Stones, and many more. Plus New World Sun, just off a European tour, and the legendary R&B master, Leroy Emanuel. Get on the Freedom Train with Tamara Lich. Saturday, November 25th at Niagara-on-the-Lake Central Community Center, 680 York Road. Get your tickets today at freedompassport.ca. The Freedom Train is coming. Know your rights. know your freedoms.
The biggest takeaway from the day's proceedings, in terms of drama anyways, was this moment where Tim Radcliffe, who was the lead prosecutor, had this back and forth with the judge, in which he said it was a delicate matter, that she was asking questions from the bench regarding his line of inquiry, challenging the relevance of the questions he was asking. A lawyer who I spoke with, who observed this back and forth, he interpreted this exchange as Tim Radcliffe cautioning, that was the word this lawyer used, that Tim Radcliffe was cautioning the judge against continuing with what Radcliffe seemingly perceived as an excessive line of interventions or challenges with his process of prosecution, his lines of questioning. And that at a minimum, what Radcliffe was doing was getting on the record this challenge, this dissatisfaction, this disagreement with the judge's conduct, so that in the event of not guilty verdicts being rendered for the defendants in the charges they're facing, that the prosecution, the Crown, will have a better position upon which to place an appeal. Can you share with our audience what happened in that moment, what that little dialogue back and forth was between the prosecutor and the judge?
Yeah, sure. So he essentially, as you pointed out, raised some concerns with, I believe the direct quote was, Perkins McVeigh entering into the fray, which I took from that as his concerns with Perkins McVeigh, asking questions, direct questions to the witness. And like you pointed out, he said it was a very delicate matter. Perkins McVeigh then responded, "I'm not going to comment on that. Call your next witness." Strange for this for this proceeding. I can't really say more about it, but it was certainly a Crown concern that he raised about the judge specifically, which I thought was rather noteworthy.
Can you tell us what would have been on there that's germane or apropos to the trial?
She had texts, communications with Chris Barber and other different organizers of different convoys, and they were wiped clean. So I think that's pretty relevant evidence that's been lost.
Can we speculate at all as to what was lost? What are the important records that are germane or apropos or relevant to the trial that you think was lost by this upgrade or update on her mobile device?
I cannot speculate,
Okay.
but I want the information so I can know what to do with it.
She said she lost the logs on her work phone, but then it came up further in her testimony that the PLT chats, specifically the signal chats, were still contained on her personal phone. And I think Magus got into this a little bit in the cross-examination, was that with respect to the PLT chats that she had, I guess, on her personal phone, or access to them on her personal phone since they were made, which would have been during the convoy, during the protests, this wasn't disclosed to defense until rather recently. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
Is this an ongoing theme?
I mean, disclosure issues in general, yes, frankly.
I've actually had quite a few people in Ottawa approach me over the past few weeks and few months, praising the work that I'm a part of here at Rebel News, telling me that they love what we're doing in terms of our reporting on the Tamara Lich trial, demonstrations we're attending and reporting on. And if you folks out there in the audience also appreciate and love what we're doing, you need to remember that we can't do this for free. We have operational costs. So please support us and allow us to continue delivering this content to you. Please visit tamaratrial.com to contribute to us and to stay up to date with our coverage.